Oh, thank you. Thank you. Maybe you're, never mind. How did that go again? OH? I couldn't understand, and then I leaned over and said, what are they saying afterwards?
Ohio!
Yeah, then I figured it out. I barely got through high school, so I could spell Ohio. And I was really well coached to say that it is the Ohio State University. In Texas, I live in Austin, so I don't need... Full disclaimer, I mean, a year or two ago, when was it when number one played number two? We were so excited. This is off subject, but I'm just going to get it out there. McConaughey and I had a heck of a tailgate party before that game, and it did not work out very good, so thanks for that. I appreciate it. It was still a good party. Anyways. The reason that we are here today, and the reason that, I hope everybody can hear me, the reason that there are over 600 of these events around the country is because we are dealing with, in our country and in our society and really around the world, we're dealing with an epidemic. This disease takes 560,000 American lives every year, 1,500 Americans every day, 1 American every minute, 7 million people around the world officially. There's no telling what it is unofficially. That is bigger than AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined globally. This is a monumental epidemic for our society, and as we age as a population, and as the younger population becomes a little lazier and a little more sedentary, and cancer therapies and cancer research and these issues don't develop, we will meet a perfect storm. That toll is a personal toll. It's us either individually being diagnosed, or a family member, or a loved one, or a neighbor, or a classmate, a co-worker. That's a personal issue. You're directly affected, or somebody that you love is directly affected, and you may or may not lose them. That's hard to take personally and emotionally. That's a toll that we need to avoid. As well, economically, you have to look at the impact that this disease takes on our society and on our economy. I have an 8-year-old son, and he's I reckon it'll be another 15 years before he's out of college. The projections are that this disease will cost our society and our economy $1 trillion by the time my son graduates college. Now, you compare and contrast that to $5 or $6 billion of federal funding at the National Cancer Institute, which coincidentally has shrunk for the past 2 to 3 years. You compare and contrast those two numbers, and I will tell you that that is an issue of financial and economic and moral and ethical disparity. It's something that we absolutely have to change. I think as a parent and as somebody who runs a family or is in charge of a family, we all understand the dynamics of managing a household. And I also understand that as a society and as a federal government, we have to manage our issues as well. So things come along and become distractions and become stressors on the economy and on our federal budget. But to me, something that comes along and takes 1,500 American lives every day ought to become a national priority. I think we all remember September 11, 2001, and we saw, in the span of a day or two, we saw 3,000 Americans lose their lives, and we saw this story that really shook our world. The aftermath of that was an effort to combat terrorism and to combat the bad guys, and we have allocated a lot of resources there. And in this fight, in our cancer fight, it's important not to pit one issue versus another. But to me, as a cancer survivor, to somebody that deals with cancer survivors and their friends and their families on a daily basis, I know what terror is. I know what war is. And as a proud American, I know that we don't ever back down from war. We don't ever back down from conflict. We don't ever back down from a fight. But in reality, this war was declared in 1971. Richard Nixon declared war on cancer. He said, today we are starting the war on cancer. We are creating the National Cancer Institute, and we are funding it to the tune of $150 million. This was a bipartisan effort. In 37 years, we have to look back at that and say, what have we done? How effective have we been? Well, I will tell you selfishly that we've been somewhat effective now that I'm standing here 11 years on and having had a few good days in my life. But I know that there are all too many stories just down the, who knows if that ambulance that I hear right now is taking somebody from hospice to the hospital or from their house to hospice. I don't know that. But I know that the numbers are the numbers and the facts are the facts, and that the fact is that we can do more. We can do more as a society on all levels. And when I mean all levels, I mean the cancer continuum. I'm talking all the way from prevention. Prevent this disease. Let's prevent somebody from ever being diagnosed with cancer. If it's a 16 or a 17-year-old, it's not a very sexy thing, but the doctor knows it. Half of all cancers we know are preventable. A 16 or a 17-year-old young kid, if they're deciding whether or not they pick up a cigarette, the answer should be no. We know that smoking kills, and we know that it ultimately leads to cancer and death. So that's an important issue. Screening and early detection, an important issue. Access to the best medical care, regardless of the color of your skin, the neighborhood you live in, the language you speak, the state you live in, doesn't matter. We all deserve the highest level of medical care.